It feels good to be back here on Breakfast Central on a Thursday. Yes, it is. And we are alive. That's the most important thing. So we're saying it feels good to be alive. We're alive because with what we see these days and what we hear in the news, newspaper stories is enough for you to, worry. But don't fret. We've got the trio here ready to do justice to the show today. My name is Joe Hansen, by the way. And I'm Big Borough. We've got you covered. Like Joe Hansen said, this is the right place to start your day. Breakfast Central will bring you all the latest information, insightful conversations, fantastic analysis, and we also touch base with our correspondents across the nation to give you a holistic view of what's happening in our nation, Nigeria, and Bingabura. But I'm going to struggle a bit today because I'm not wearing my glasses. And is this Felicity? Is it Wiki? No. It's Choma Potter. No. Olive, is that okay? Oh, yeah, it's Olive from The Voice. You can hear it. Oh, wow. From The Voice.
You forgot your glasses.
Yeah, I forgot my glasses.
Why?
And I struggle. I left it in my breast pocket. Of
your former jacket?
The jacket I wore.
Oh, wow.
It's okay. We'll help you see things.
Well, the good thing is we are here to be your eyes on Breakfast Central. And even as we see and bring you the news, we're also going to be seeing the comments on social media. We'll go to YouTube where we'll take live feedback. So if we're talking about any story, please drop your thoughts on it. We'd like to read your thoughts on any of the stories that we're going to be discussing this morning. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I am Olive Emodi.
All right.
The show. Wake up conversation.
Yes, today is a very good one, and we're going to start off first with the fact that there is a new move by the House of Representatives as they look to ban public workers from private schools and hospitals. There's a bit of excitement with this story, but
there's no bit of excitement for me.
It's not going to see the light of day.
It's just giving eye service.
And a populist move by the person that moved this motion, because that person knows that it will not
that
see
person
the light
even maybe has their own kids abroad. Yeah, I'm not excited in any way, shape, or form. It's giving eye service. Because we all know that bill is not going to see the light of day.
But I'm sure our viewers... But let's tell them the bill first. Let's get to the crux. Let's tell them the bill. All right, so this bill, basically, is actually a bill that has passed its first reading. And it's passed its first reading. It's a bill seeking to prohibit public and civil servants, including their immediate families, from patronizing private schools and healthcare facilities in Nigeria. Now, this bill is sponsored by Honorable Amobi Godwin Oga, a lawmaker representing Isiokwato, Umuneochi Federal Constituency, Abia State.
Olive can help us.
Yes, Isiokwato. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that bad with Igbo. I'm very good with Igbo names, I know.
Impressive.
I try. Anyway, he was speaking at a press conference that you can see there on the screen after the bill was read for the first time on the floor. But let's just take a listen, and we will hear if Olive's thoughts are really true or it's going to happen. First reading.
When I'm at the process of doing all these things, if I'm as a member of National Assembly or chairman House Committee on Education on Health, and my children are part of going to those public schools, sir, I will make sure it's fixed. The problem we are facing today is because we believe that the government institutions we have to go and make money, then you now take it. Then how about those other people that we are serving?
Fantastic initiative, fantastic bill on paper.
How
do you get it away from paper?
A bit of a background to the man. He is currently serving his first term in the 10th House of Representatives as a member representing Isiokwato Umuneochi Federal Constituency under the platform of the Labour Party. Before he joined mainstream politics, Honorable Oga was executive director of 7 subsidiary companies under Polymama Group of companies and other companies outside the group. So just to get a background as to why he will be the person saying this, it's understandable, but he sounded like a new kid on the block.
He is a new kid on the block.
He is a new kid on the block.
That's why I
like you said, he sounded like that.
He's really sounding like
a bit naive too.
Yes, it's probably done with best of intentions, but they should shock us and that bill should see the light of the day.
Or
We
having
just know
passed
it's
the
an
first
actual joke.
reading,
No,
don't
no,
you
no,
think
no, no.
there's some hope?
There's no hope. They just do that.
It always passes the first reading.
Yes,
At
then
the
when you
second
get
reading,
the
it will
second
just
reading,
stagnate a little and
don't
stay
worry,
there.
let's not deceive ourselves.
And possibly not move
Nah,
forward.
that bill is
But what are the implications for this?
So the implication, if of the bill, if passed, would mean, I don't know if the bill is going to be will be retrogressive. I don't know if that's the word. If it's to go back in time to say that those who already have their students or their wards in private schools abroad or private institutions should bring them back. Maybe going forward, it would mean that you're not allowed to register your children in public schools. And I think that would be fantastic. If all politicians, if this was something that would actually see the light of day, where we can say that all politicians will be mandated to attend public schools. You will see the quality of public education. It will be improved.
Even the hospitals will eventually work.
Exactly. We then extend that to hospitals so that our governors and our presidents will know that London is not an option and that going to India or whatever to get themselves checked is not an option.
I want to know the enforcement mechanisms for this that is part of the bill.
You will declare.
And then the punitive measures, if you don't abide by the bill, are you going to pay a fine? Will people go to jail? How do you deal with
That's
sorts
a
of
very
these
good
issues?
question.
Exactly. So
because what will be the fine? Maybe they tell you the fine is 500,000 naira or 60,000.
Yeah, of course, they'll pay.
Chicken feed for them.
I mean, some people will even pay it in lieu. They'll pay it ahead of time. Like for 10 years.
Just the way Yaya Bello paid the school fees in lieu of...
But he said it was
them joining
alleged
the school.
that he did not pay. And somebody from the school said they did not receive money, even though there was a proof and receipt.
The courts will decide.
Yeah, the court will decide. But that's the story. The question is, what do you make out of this? Do you think this will help our education system, the medical healthcare system as well? Because if you have politicians who use Nigeria's medical facilities, the hospitals here in Nigeria, it simply means that they will no longer need to travel and fly abroad for surgeries, for whatever it is. They will take care of themselves here in Nigeria. That's what.
But the irony is, there's a whole generation of Nigerian politicians, the elderly ones in their 60s, 70s, that were beneficiaries of Nigerian higher education, and the standard was great. It was fantastic.
Absolutely.
There was a time when people that studied in US, they used to look at them like, okay, maybe the Olodos that ran away and couldn't compete with the universities of Ibadan.
I agree.
University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and things like that. But look how far back we've gone. We've retrogressed a lot in terms of education and healthcare. People used to come from abroad for surgeries in UCH in Ibadan, and it's just sad that our healthcare system is in this very sorry state.
But kudos to Honorable Oga. I mean, regardless of how we do not believe in the possibility of this bill seeing the light of day, that he can even dare to put this forward. I know initially I had dragged him and said it's giving us support. The truth is, we look forward to the day when this will become something that we can confidently say, you know, Nigerian politicians, Nigerian leaders, lawmakers, they're all involved in the healthcare system, in the education sector. Their kids are schooling here, where we can see politicians bragging about, oh, my children graduated from Lagos State, this one, or this primary school,
and you'll be very proud.
Lagos State, and they'll be very proud of the quality of education that they receive.
The former governor of Kaduna State, he enrolled his child in Kaduna State Public School. I wonder if that boy is still there. we should send Umaru Kirawa to Kaduna
so
to do
Umaru Kirawa is our
journalism.
Yes, is our journalist. Umaru, okay, they said the child is no more there. Our producer just told us now. Wow.
You know, if I could put this bill, if I could come up with a metaphor for this Honorable Oga's bill, there's actually no light at the end of the tunnel for this bill. The light at the end of the tunnel for this bill is a lantern with a little kerosene left.
The light was supposed to be a band A light, but you cannot afford to pay for that.
That light is band E. It doesn't come on, hopefully. But
who knows? I mean, they should shock us, like Olive said.
Yes, they should shock us.
Yeah, and let these bills see the light of day. But will the president assent to it? That's another issue.
Another angle.
That's another angle.
I mean, I've asked this question before. If you could influence any bill being signed into law,
which one?
What bills would you try to? Let's imagine that all three of us were lawmakers, and he had the opportunity to push for certain bills. Maybe bills people wouldn't typically think about, or maybe bills that they brought up before but did not see the light of
No, I know the bill I would push for. What? I would push for that bill. All sitting senators and all in public offices must earn below. Everybody must earn the same. The wages must be the same minimum wage. Same minimum wage.
As a university professor.
Same minimum wage.
No, minimum wage is taking it too far.
Wait now. You know there will be additions. Okay, take for instance, if a senator is earning 70,000 naira, he's going to have his house allowance and so on and so forth. If you add everything together, he might get to about, let's say, 1.5. It's fine. Earn that and see if you jostle to go and sit there and be collecting what's it called? Sitting allowance. You won't sit there because time would fly. You think of maybe if I can send like 10 containers to China now, you'll be calculating inside the house, so you won't sit there.
You know, your question is a very difficult question because we're in a country with myriad of problems. They're just too enormous, and you're like, which one should be priority? Which should go first? And
you will take one. You can't do everything.
Yes, I mean, I would go for holistic reform at the Nigerian police. I listened to Scotty Guma's comments yesterday, narrating his ordeal in the last few days, and it was absolutely heart-wrenching. The Nigerian police is not, as it's currently constituted, needs serious reforms. There's so many of its personnel that are bad eggs, that are not even fit for the duty they've been appointed for, and their motto should be protect and serve, not. You know, it's horrible.
I'll come back to answer the question I asked, but I want to further expand on what you said, especially because you particularly raised Scotty Guma. And Scotty Guma was arrested, kept in police custody for days. I think it was there up until recently when he was released by his lawyers. If you go on his page and you watch the harrowing account that he detailed.
I watched all of it.
I watched it from part 1 to... I had goosebumps, not the kind of good goosebumps. Bad one, I felt like puking, my tummy was up in knots. And I think that the Nigerian police has a lot of questions to answer, because that shouldn't just be one video where it will be a rant session and everybody will just move on like something happened. The Nigerian police need to investigate, fish out those eggs. If they confirm, that what he said is true, fish out the officers who harassed, intimidated,
deprived him of food,
deprived him of his fundamental human rights. That is no way to treat a human being.
Telling him to sign a statement he didn't write. You know, things like that.
Putting handcuffs at his back until his hands bled, even after he begged him. Don't we watch foreign films? We watch foreign films now.
Yeah,
you see the way that they arrest. It's not the way that you are arresting here. Even in the films, there's a lot more dignity. There's something in the Constitution that is called the right to dignity of human person. You have stripped him of that right to dignity of human person.
I bet you, and I stand to be corrected, a lot of police officers don't know what you just said.
It almost seems like there's a culture of impunity.
That the person you're about to arrest has rights under the Nigerian Constitution, enshrined. It's there.
I mean, you don't even have to.
They don't understand.
Human courtesy, dignity to a fellow human being. You don't need to read the Constitution to know that you're going overboard. How do you tell someone to sign a statement he hasn't
and the person said to you,
and he hasn't read?
And it's almost like you feel that you're doing them a huge favor.
And why is P1? I mean, let's mention. I mean,
anyway,
we're also turning it out to P1.
I mean, there are petitions, and I believe the EFCC will rise above and shame the Nigerian police and do due diligence with this P1 case, because they're inundated with a number, over 100 petitions from Scotty Guma. And we spoke to the EFCC spokesperson the other day, and he did confirm.
He said they're working on it.
They're working on it.
We hope.
Yes, and the man in charge of that investigation at the Panti, the Commissioner of Police, and the higher echelon of the Nigerian police force, should the DSP or the DCP should be investigated thoroughly.
We can't.
Because he seems like a biased party, and it's not just investigated.
We can't keep quiet and pretend like this is not a matter that needs to be investigated. P1 definitely has a lot of questions to answer. If over 200 Nigerians have said that they bought property and they are asking,
can they be wrong?
Where is our property? Everybody cannot all be telling lies.
At the same time,
that is something that needs to be investigated.
Makes this complaint.
And then he decides to be the voice. that is championing this cause, and then they arrest him. And it's not just in the fact that he was arrested and detained, it's the manner in which he was treated. So there are a lot of people here, and the question now is, whenever we hear cases of the police misbehavior, police acting out of order, the question now is, how well will the police fare when it's investigating itself? Can the police honestly investigate itself? Can a party be a judge in its own cause? One of the principles of natural justice, they will talk about a party not being a judge in its own cause and a party not be condemned unheard. Scott Iguma was not given a proper fair hearing, especially in the way
they rushed. He didn't even
was handled.
know he was going to court. He had to call his lawyer. I mean, it was hush-hush, and it's just very terrible.
If you can
watch that video, go watch it. We also need to take a second look at the Cyberbullying Act, because it's being used as an excuse to, just arrest people, shut them up, and trample on their fundamental human rights.
There's something called defamation. If you feel that somebody is saying things against you that is not true, take them to court for defamation. The defense to defamation is truth. If they can prove that what they said about you is true, then there's no case for defamation.
And the question is,
we need the police to not be an instrument for
harassing him to give him the names of the petitioners. Why the police should go and meet the FCC and
you know what? Let's move on. It's a story we'd like to look into. Hopefully, we'll do our very, very detailed analysis and spend some time to.
Yes, and just to mention that we're also extending an invitation, to P1. Yeah. We did send an email to them. They haven't responded yet. P1, we want to hear your side of the story as well. So we're opening the conversation. We're going to also invite Scott Iguma back on the show this time around to talk about the case with P1. All right? We'll be moving on, but before then, I had asked you both a question, and I haven't answered yet, about what bills, if we're to move, you already know that the bills that I would move for would be bills that, one, would prioritize healthcare for women and children. And I'll say this because I think
you should say everyone.
No, I would say women and children.
What about
I know why I'm saying that. Because I would think that if I just had a child and I had to return to work 3 months after, I would feel better knowing that there's a daycare, for example, in my organization that looks after my child. So if my child needs to be breastfed, I can be working and I can come back. Benga is back now to work, Even though, yes, I would also push for them to have a longer time for paternity care, because I feel like 10 days is not enough for a man to be able to bond with his child. Also, the mother has just been through a very interesting ordeal. She needs the support from her partner. So there should be longer times for paternity care, for men to bond with their children, for them to show up and spend time with their families. And then every organization should be mandated to have maternity centers for their children. I would rather my child is in my office downstairs and I'm at the top floor, and if the child needs me, they can call me and say, Olive, please come down, your child needs you. I'll be able to give the best of myself to my organization.
I agree with you, 100%.
Thank you very much.
I'm just thinking how that will work.
No, there are organizations that have started to do that. In Nigeria, many organizations have started to do that.
Any ministry?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll make public sector and even the private sector. It would be just a bill to say, if you're running a business in Nigeria, you must ensure that you have a maternity ward. We'll figure out the modalities of that as we proceed. But I think that is an important
Olive, just pass the first reading.
It will pass the first reading, but it will stop there. Let's move on.
Okay.
Anyway, our next story. I'm sure you are aware that Nigeria lost its former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and tributes have been flying in, left, right, center. The first that we did see out of many saw politicians, you could say, very important personalities, dignitaries in the society. But there was something that stood out, and it had to do with what we know as human error. The first happened to be the Imo State governor, while trying to mention and share his tribute to the late president, a bit stumbled on his words, and Nigerians in any way, kind of like said, okay, it's human, let's let it go. Up until, like a favorite person I follow on social media says, until it happened again yesterday, and this time it was the Senate president who also fell into this level of blunder. I mean, after all, it's still human error, but let's show you the clip, and then I will talk about it.
And the whole country is very proud of what this administration has done in the way and manner President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was honored and was buried. And you can see, even from President Buhari's President Buhari was honored and buried. And Distinguished Senator Ningi, you also observed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be forgotten for what he did during the burial ceremonies of President Muhammadu Buhari. So, in the Senate, we are also determined to ensure that in our books, the record says that we also had this valedictory, despite all said and done.
Let's take a look at the Imo State governor as well, who also fell for the human error. Fell into the human error. Just take a look.
May the soul of the former president, President Bola, President Muhammadu Buhari, and the souls of all the faithful departed to the mercy of God rest in peace.
Give me G. Is human, but I think Governor Hope Uzodinma realized his gaffe immediately and corrected. At least there are many ballers in Nigeria, so you can't be sure. And there could be a President Bola of a street association, you know, president of the Residents Association. So it might not necessarily mean President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the Senate President, wow. I'm not surprised because I don't think in the history of this democratic experience, this 26 years uninterrupted democratic experience, we've had a very cozy and body-body relationship between the legislature and the executive. He's so used to showering in with accolades. Anytime he mentions President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's at the tip of his mouth. Can you remember? He was the one that led the chorus for Bola on your mandate at the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly. So I'm not surprised, but it was a mistake gone too far. He completed the full name.
You wanna offer our president? Why can't you be making such a mistake?
It's a dangerous blunder.
It's a mistake. It's a blunder.
Just let Nigerians know.
Sorry?
Just let Nigerians know that.
Yeah, it's a blunder. Our president is not dead. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is alive.
Yes.
It's former President Muhammadu Buhari. I think maybe that was a bit of a mouthful to say former ex-president Muhammadu Buhari. So sometimes
former is ex.
Former is okay.
Former late President Muhammadu Buhari. So it sometimes can be a bit of a mouthful, and because they are used to saying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so when they say president, the next thing that immediately comes to their subconscious is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I think we can cut him some slack.
I wonder how the
Nigerians are not cutting him any slack.
I wonder how Mr. President feels about this. There are these people trying to let me go
he knows
my
that,
time.
Well,
no, he knows.
He knows that it's a slip of tongue. They are his guys now.
And even the president who has made several gaffes in the past. So air is human. We all make mistakes.
Exactly.
I made a mistake here the other day when I was trying to calculate kilowatt hours. Yes. And the present governor of Edo State, Monday Akpabio, His Excellency, also made a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're all human beings.
Okay.
Even you are making a mistake. You are wearing Crocs.
Wow! Shots fired. Shots fired. Let's support X.
Sorry for exposing you, my sister.
Duke of Ibiana Ibom says, Senator Akpabio, a sitting president of the Nigerian Senate and leader of National Assembly, keeps campaigning openly for Bola Ahmed Tinubu whenever he gets the mic. Now he has buried him finally. Godswill Akpabio is the worst of the worst Senate presidents ever in the history of Nigeria.
Well, we can't really say that.
He says this is actually what he wants for him, but bro wants to keep his job. Kiddy for you says that most of these guys are on feet. Kakistocracy is what led them there. Second time, actually, they're missing Buhari for Tinubu. And the next tweet says, there's nothing bad here if he corrects himself. We're mortal bodies and we make mistakes.
Absolutely.
He has been used to that name frequently, and that's what his medulla registered off on. Nothing bad if he quickly corrected himself. Natasha Wahala also add up. So I was going to say that, yes, it's a mistake. You know, typically, something called muscle memory. If you were driving to somewhere, maybe it was on a Saturday, you're not coming to work, and you're driving to somewhere at the end of the street. Subconsciously, if you're not paying attention, you will do a U-turn coming to work because the muscle memory already is used to coming here. It's just that lately Akpabio has not been in the favor of Nigerians. He's been called out, especially with this whole case of Senator Natasha Akpabio. So, of course, you'd expect that people would drag that a little more. But it was a mistake. Let's
this current crop of politicians who wish they were politicians in the 90s, when there was, before the age of the internet. All you watch is NTA. No feedback. Information is one way.
Make a mistake, you can't cut it out.
One way. And then highest, you write to the, newspapers. They have this little box,
and they can
opinion, and then they can choose to put it or not. But it's nice to have this democratic freedom of expression. And Nigerians just end it.
That's good. That's what.
But let's use it responsibly.
Yeah. Anyway, who's borrowing? Somebody's borrowing again. Just yesterday, final story. President Tinubu is seeking $47 million in addition for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway.
That's a lot of cash.
I'm sure we have the footage. Let's see if we can play it for you to see where the Senate, talking about the House of Reps, if I'm right, also quickly made mention of the latest edition. But let's take a look.
Honorable colleagues, we have an announcement from the presidency, and the title of the communication is Request for Amendment of the Draft 2025-2026 Federal Government External Borrowing. And the content of the letter reads as follows. I have the honor to respectfully convey for Your Excellency's kind consideration the need to effect certain amendments to the 2025-2026 Federal Government Borrowing Plan, earlier forwarded to the National Assembly, to ensure the borrowing plan is consistent with the specific terms of financing arrangements made or proposed to be made by the federal government. Specifically, you may wish to know that in connection with 1, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project, the total loan size for the Section 1 of Phase 1 of the project is $747 million, as opposed to the 700 million US dollars stated in the draft borrowing plan. This is because as of the time of transmission of the plan to the National Assembly, the lead arranger for financing only had financing commitments of up to $700 million from lenders. The shortfall in the financing was covered ultimately by export credit agencies. This therefore necessitated the request to amend value of the financing for the project to ensure it aligns with the loan size agreed in the finance document for the project.
Wow. So this is let's bear in mind, this is an external borrowing. And if we want to run through what is actually happening now, we can break it down. When Obasanjo assumed office as president in 1999, Nigeria's debt profile, external, was 28 billion. I mean, good enough, Obasanjo was able to get the London and Paris, debt relief, which further brought it down to 2.11 billion naira. So when Obasanjo left office, he left office with 2.11 billion debt. Now, Yar'Adua and Jonathan came, and they added about 3.8 billion to that 2.11, which saw Nigeria's debt profile rise to roughly about 7 billion. And when Jonathan left office, it was just about that amount, about 7 billion. But the late former president, Muhammadu Buhari, came, and he was tagged as the highest borrower ever, at a rate of over 600%. And he borrowed over 21-point-something billion, in addition to that 7. So that saw Nigeria's debt profile, external, rise to about 28, almost 30, 31, and then it kept going. Even before he left office,
where are we now?
We're at about 30-something. Now we're in 118. We've seen President Tinubu borrow more than
in 2 years.
President Buhari in 2 years.
Well, he has had a lot to do at the time that Okay, sorry.
How sustainable is this? I mean,
That's the question.
It's one of the issues we need to take a critical look at. But, I mean, look, this is a mega project. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, a lot of people have argued that he would open up that economic corridor. It's going to create jobs. It's going to... It's a mega project. And the total cost they're looking at is $747 million. So this $47 million that the president is seeking is a tiny drop in the ocean. And it's a legacy project. We wonder if he will be able to complete it, even if he gets a second term in 8 years. But our hope is that he does. There's also another angle of the current state of federal roads in different parts of the country that it's not to write home about. It's horrible.
And we're entering into the thick of the
rainy season. So they're wondering what are priorities.
All right.
Yes.
I mean, these are conversations that will need further probing, and we'll bring in experts to come and talk about the impact of this fresh borrowing request. Let's now share what our top stories this morning are on Breakfast Central. This morning on Breakfast Central, APC battles coalition internal tensions ahead of 2027 election. Reactions trail National Assembly's denial of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's resumption. Genco's discourse kick as states begin tariff cuts. We'd also look at 7 lawmakers, PDP lawmakers, cross-carpet to APC. It's still open season in the political space, and we'll be looking at the newspapers this morning. Stay with us for all these and more.